Alright, and today I'm going to be showing you all how to properly empty your vat, refill your vat, clean it out, change the filter. We're going to refill Big Bertha, show you how to send everything up through waste. It's going to be an eventful time. Let's get started. This is Big Bertha. See all that. Alright, so we're here at the main hub. As you can see, a lot of people don't have this kind of setup, but we had this setup. So you have the waste one right here. Then you have your fresh cooking oil one right here. See, that's the number, many gallons we have in there. Pounds. And so what we're gonna do is grab the fresh oil out of there, put it in Bertha. We're gonna send all the dirty oil from the deep fryer and send it and put it up in here. All right. As you can see, we have a whole setup right here, pretty much set up for us, pretty nice. As you can see, you got the F for fresh, W for waste. Always want to be careful that you're like pretty much in the same vicinity while it's filling up and keeping an eye on it. For the waste, if you need to run to the restroom or something, you can't really do no harm because it's sucking the stuff up into it, but you can't overfill it. So always be mindful to stay here with the waste. When it's fresh, and the waste as well. So like I said, we're gonna set it up right now, get our hose connection together, and then back here, here's your pounds right here. Roughly, I think both of those are roughly a little bit over 50 pounds. They're about 55-pound vats for each side. So we're going to be looking at trying to at least get 110. But since I got to fill up a couple of those bottles, those containers of oil, we're gonna run it to about 150 to be on the safe side. Hold on, let me see. They're 30 pounds a piece, 30, 60 plus the 110. We're gonna take it to 175. So we're gonna start this off at about. We're gonna put it in 5-minute increments just to kind of gauge to see where we at. Yeah, and actually the container says 35 pounds on those single containers, but I like to be safe and go at least 30. And we have a light button right here. As you can see the difference, no light, no light. Right now, we're under the 25-pound mark. All right, let's do it. As you can tell, we're gonna need this hose because we're putting, and this side is fresh, this side is the waste. This side is taking stuff out, this side is returning stuff in. And you always want to have this connected to this to get the power, the power. So once again, we're going to be using this hose here, of course. All right, I got that side connected. I'm going to try to attempt to show you all how to connect this side if I can. Actually, I can. Take one of these water bottles here and sit it like that. See it, yeah. So you want to always make sure you pull that back some, stick it in there. You hear that click, easy as that. All right, gonna connect this. Even though I really don't believe you need to connect that piece on the account that we don't really have nowhere to connect this piece right here, but I still like to connect it just to be safe. And once again, I'm going to drive this over a little more so that I can insert inside of here. One thing you really got to be mindful of is reading this sign right here, these two. So as you can see, it says refill fresh oil from bulk. So we refilling the fresh oil that goes into the machine from the bulk, the big thing I just showed you. So you want to have this nozzle up. We're going to let this nozzle down. We're taking the, we're filling the fries from the fresh oil tank. So this is going to be the fresh oil tank as it says right here. So we'll put that down once we get back in the kitchen to refill the oil from the fresh oil tank that's in here. So let me adjust this a little bit and we'll get started. All right, now that we have our connection on both sides, nice and sturdy for the power, handles raised. You'll be able to feel this. You'll be able to feel the warmth and the heat and the oil pushing through here as well. If you have any questions, if it's ever like flowing or not. One thing too that you want to be, if you want to be this specific on, to know if you got the right measurements going inside of here. It worked out perfectly because right now we have, if you can see it, 1,175 pounds in our fresh oil vat, in our fresh oil bulk thing, and we're getting 175 out. So that should be right at 1,000 once finished, even if, you know. So let's get started. Once again, we're gonna just turn this nozzle. It has to be turned past there, if you can see it. Yeah, so let's just turn this nozzle to 5, just to see how much 5 it gets us. Turn that right to 5. And we're at 0. We'll come back and see how many gallons, how many pounds 5 gives us. See you soon. All right, so we made it to our 5-minute mark. And one thing I do want to tell you, it's almost somewhat like an air fryer in a sense too. If you are getting too much oil that you don't need, you can always just pull the power out, and that'll stop it from dispersing any more oil into your vat. So if you only needed 50, but you cranked it up to 5, and it's more than that, as soon as you get to your 50, you can just pull that out, and no more will disperse into your machine. Okay, so don't ever get worried. That's exactly what you can do. So we got that unplugged for sure. Now let's see where we at. So 5 minutes got us just about our 175 mark. To be exact, it was 153. So we should at least have 150 gallons in here, 150 pounds in here. I keep saying gallon. Yeah, so roughly a little bit over the 150. So that's good. So 5 minutes gets you a whole lot. So if you were just filling the 2 vats up by themselves, I would go ahead and suggest starting it at maybe 3 minutes, you know? Yeah, so it's pretty easy, pretty simple. But the math is pretty much accurate, and since it doesn't have to be perfect, since we're refilling the containers, we're gonna go ahead and leave it right there where it's at, and we're gonna push her back, and I'll show you how to put it into put the new oil into the deep fry and the old oil into the waste side. This is the waste side right here, and it should be able to, well, I know it's able to hold both sides, at least 100 pounds of oil in here. So let me disconnect these things. And actually, I can show you how to disconnect them too. So let me just stick this back down here like that. So get this side first. So you just disconnect this piece. When you want to release this piece, you just do everything you did to put it in reverse. Push that back. And it'll pop right on out. It will be having a little oil leaking, so that's why I keep that towel. But that's we got that towel in there for that leakage right there. I usually put this towel back inside of that one. I'm gonna just wipe that off a smidge. I'll clean it a little bit later. Same thing with this side. Push that back. Push it back. It should pop right on out. Like that. Flow like that. And I said, for now, we're just gonna stick that in. Be careful because the inside of that is usually hot, but not on this one since it's fresh oil. But when we get to the waist where the oil is warm and hot, it definitely gets warm. So let's get down to the kitchen. All right, and we're back in the kitchen. First thing you want to do, well, it doesn't have to be the first thing, but go ahead and grab your hose from back there carefully now, carefully. As you can see, I keep that in there. Just stick this somewhere for now. Have to bring Bertha a lot closer. All right, we got the hose secured. Now we want to come around here and we're going to connect this, because this is going to be what we need to refill the deep fry vat. So one thing you want to do first, doesn't have to be first in your order, is connect this, plug it in wherever it feels safe. You can probably hear it connect, make a little sound. Some people might want to connect this first and then put the power in there, but either or, no right or wrong method, as long as the method is properly done. Not moving too far, too fast. And actually, we don't actually need to connect this yet, because we're going to be taking the oil out, the old oil out of here before we put in the new oil. So let me not get ahead of myself. So our next step is to pull Bertha a little closer. Remember, we're on, well, this is not needed right now, but since we're already here, let's go ahead and push this down to this level, because we're filling the fryers from our fresh oil tank, 150 pounds, 160 pounds. That's that, but that's not, just to go ahead and get ahead of the game now. But what we're working on is out of the waste. We're collecting the waste. So we're gonna insert this. Give me a second to get that together. All right, that's on there good and sturdy. But first thing we're gonna do, not first thing, but next what we're gonna do, we're gonna open these up. And before we send this oil into this machine, we're going to use this oil and let it filter through to kind of clean the bottom out, instead of just releasing it and sending it straight up in there, which really, once you release it, it goes in there, then in there. All right, and I also like to have me some tongs so I can kind of get the area, the cracks or whatnot, but you don't have to do it, because it's a very dangerous move, depending on, because you can shoot oil everywhere, get it on yourself, and it could be hot. So you don't necessarily have to. You can skip this step and send it from there to there. But you see it's on. You see how it's leveled. It's on discard oil. So let's do this side first. This is the side I normally use for my chicken. I use for fried foods, like all my protein and stuff, and potatoes over that one. So you got one side for meats, one side for just like appetizers or fried french fries, potatoes. So what we got to do first, right? Turn this machine off. And you can't open that valve before you turn it off. You don't want to touch it. So you turn the machine off. You want to get it while it's still hot. Okay? It says off. Next thing you want to do is now go down here, release it. I normally turn it about 3/4 of the way. Make sure there isn't any leaks or anything. It is lined up pretty correctly, which it is. It's lined up pretty correctly. Now that I see that, we can go ahead and crank it full blast. You can hear it. Still no leaks or anything. And as you can see, that's going fairly fast. So that's a good thing. That means there's nothing really clogging it. Let that get down to the bottom. And that, you don't necessarily have to let it get down to the bottom, but for the video's sake, I'm gonna let it get down all the way through before, cause I could start filtering it in now, but I want to see the bottom to know where I'm gonna be sitting all my stuff. So like as you can see, you got all of that stuff in the corners and different places where this thing can't reach. So now, after you got that taken care of, what you want to do, turn on the filter pump. Now, it's right now, when I turn the filter pump on, it's sending it through there. And you don't want to do that. So you want to turn this over like that. It should come through here. Yeah, just like that. And now, and you would do this step if you were if you were filtering the oil. If I was to put some of the powder in there, I would just pour some powder in there, and then I'll just let it filter 3 or 4 minutes, let it filter, and then I'll if you were just putting some if you're just keeping it clean and pouring some powder in there, I turn the machine off, I leave the thing closed, I turn the machine off, leave it closed, pour about 18 ounces of Henny Penny. Sorry about that. So if I was filtering the machine with just some of the Henny Penny stuff, some of the Henny Penny powder, you would just turn the machine off, leave it closed, pour about 18 ounces of the Henny Penny powder in there. Once you pour that in there, you will open the vat, turn that nozzle to filter, and just let it flow through. Like I said, what I do here, because it's so hot, I use this, I turn it several ways, so it's getting as many corners as it can, getting all that food and gunk out them corners. Do it like that. See, now this is where it gets dangerous. You want to send some of that oil back there to that backside that I can't reach, you know? If you have a tool to get back there, so be it, but it's really, really hot. So this definitely, it usually comes out a lot faster than this, but like I said, you see it's getting, it got all the potatoes and stuff that was right there and all the french fries or whatever. Same for this side as well. You can't get all the way back there and back. Just send it up there a little bit. A little bit more challenging, but it's getting back there. All right. Now that we pretty much got it clean, and because we're still working, I want about to come and order nothing. We can go ahead and send it into the waste now. Now that we've got all that done, so we'll just change that back here. It's no longer shooting through there. It is officially going up into your waist right here. And if you're ever uncertain, outside of it not coming through there, you can feel it. You can feel the heat, you can feel the flow, and that's how you'll know. As you can hear it making a lot of noise, that usually means it's just about done. But like you said, you can always feel here. Make sure you're wearing gloves because it is really, really hot. It's really hot even with, I have 2 pairs of gloves on. But like I said, I don't really feel the flow as much. I roughly waited about 5 or 6 minutes so far because it's best to do it while the grease is still hot. But what I always do and what I would suggest anybody do, if you're ever uncertain about if you got all the oil out of it, just switch it back to filter and see if any oil trickles out of there. Simple. Just push that back. You see we have no oil flow pretty much, so we pretty much got the bulk of what we need. So with that being said, we can leave that there. Yeah, not too much coming out. Yeah, you can go ahead and turn that off. All right, I know y'all excited about me turning that off as well too. So what I'm gonna do here, normally you would wanna go ahead and do this side. Go ahead and grab that side as well. But since I'm currently working and I don't know if we're gonna have any guests, I'm gonna go ahead and fill this side so I always have a working station just in case somebody wants to come order anything. So once again, if you're doing this before the shift or after the shift, go ahead and knock that side out and just fill them both up. Smooth sailing. But once again, I'm gonna go ahead and close this vat up. Close this vat up like that. That's all. Now what I'm gonna do is adjust that to put that over here because we don't need that, and because we're gonna be filling up using that thing right there. I'm gonna go ahead and connect that, and then we're gonna fill this one up, turn it on, and be prepared for anything that comes our way. Let's do it. All right, all of this is connected. We got our power. Our power thing is connected, the power cord. This is nice and there tight. Once again, we're just gonna go back here. So if you wanted to do the math to kind of gauge how many pounds that you have in your vat, once again, we're looking at, you can see the line right there. Let me see. See the line right there in between 150 and 175. We know by the math it's about 1163. So let's just say that's 100, even though it's not, but it should be 163 pounds in there. But let's just say that's 155, okay? We're gonna say 155 to play it on the safe end, so we know how much this thing really receives. And to actually use this gun right here, you have to not only press this lever in, you have to press that button inside of there to get it to the spins. So once again, everything's closed up. Now, see, if you just press this button, trickles. You push that button inside, you get what you need. And what I like to do in this moment, I like to kind of like clean it off, maybe get down there in those corners we couldn't get up under there real good, get all those back ends, and clean all that off. Nice and clean. Should be so happy. Happy customers, happy vet. You know, it's pretty simple. You don't have to hold it down. As long as you're holding that button in there with it, you're good. But you know. So as you can see, it's about right there, halfway full. I like to go ahead and turn it back on. Get her brewing, get her nice and warm. As it's heating up, to be honest, I normally do it a little bit earlier. Once I really start flowing in there, probably about 45 seconds to a minute in there, I go ahead and turn it back on. But y'all be safe and just go ahead and wait till it's about halfway there so you don't burn those irons out, those heating elements out. And as you can see, everything is still working even though I have the other side connected. And to be honest, this is my first time even doing it like this, even though logically and technically it makes sense that it wouldn't have to, those two wouldn't affect each other. But I'm glad to see that we can keep this process rolling real good. And honestly, if you wanted to speed this up some, I could go ahead and let that one drain out while I'm filling this one up. But like I said, we want to be safe. We're not in that big of a rush. We want to be safe. Just in case a customer comes and this oil isn't as hot as we want it just yet, we go ahead and use that deep fryer. Like I said, it's going to start splashing back at you, so make sure you kind of, pretty close. I haven't really mastered what area to put it in, so we're doing this together, but this looks pretty reasonable. And once again, you want to make sure you get it above that second line right there. Okay? Not too much over because it can cause major issues if you have a lot of food in there. So we're going to leave it right there. Almost like filling up your tank on your car. We're getting very close to that side, to our line. Alright. I think we're pretty much good right there. Go ahead and let your hand off of both sides. And it's heating up as we speak now, so. At worst, if I do get a customer right now, I'll just let them know that it's gonna just give me a couple of minutes to let the heat, let everything get so you can get some fresh food, freshly cooked food. And we're gonna go ahead and turn this side off like we did the first time around. That's off. Open her up, 2/3 of the way, about half away. Make sure we lined up still. Perfect. See how it's looking up here. Things good. Go ahead and open her up all the way. While that's happening, we can get a gauge of how much is actually in there. So if you, I don't know if you can tell, I'm looking at it and it's at 100 pounds. So like I said, it's about 55 gallon gas, like I said earlier in the video. And so that means both of those will be like 110. But let me get the light on there, see if y'all can see it a little better. See, it's not up there, it's right there. You can see no light, light. So it's a little bit under 100, so you can see it. So once again, you got 55 gallon bats, 55 pound bats. All right, let's see. We're good and empty. We can go ahead and press the on switch for this. Let that flow. See, it's getting all that stuff in that corner. Get your tongue. You'll be able to move it. Bring her over all the way over about this corner. Be careful not to put that oil in that oil. Turn it a couple of times. Get that stuff in the middle. Say you want to go ahead and send it over there in that corner. As you can see, it's getting over there real good. Don't want to get anything over there in that corner. Be careful. See, it's kind of trickling over there. Alright, easy peasy. We're not going to take too much time up with this one, since we see that the bottom is pretty much clear, because this side is usually a lot clearer. At this location, we can go ahead and turn that back to discard the oil. As you can see, when I turn that back to discard the oil, it stops it right there. And it sends it back up in here. Like I said, it's roughly, the time varies, but I'm gonna wait about, like I said, 5 to 6 minutes, give or take. It's really not that long, but I'm just, like I said, giving y'all an estimate. And then we're gonna do our same method to where we turn it back to filter to see how much flows through here. All right, it's been about 3 or 4 minutes, but let's just see where we're at. Crank that back to filter. See what we get out of here. Alright. Looks pretty good to me. So with that being said, go ahead and turn it off. We're gonna close that vat up. Nice and closed. Move that over to the side. Grab our little doohickey right here. Our pump. Go ahead and fill it back up. Like I said, I'm gonna go ahead and start it now. Since we got a guest out there. Welcome in. I'm pretty sure y'all don't want to wait this whole time. It's filling pretty quick. Y'all know with a little bit at under 100, so we should roughly have a little bit under 50 left. You know, close to like 45. Let's not forget to hit those corners again. Get our flavor right here. It's called flavor. All that good stuff is cooked. And see, some people, you can either do that on a boil out, so where you really clean those corners and stuff like that, Or you can wipe it out, you know what I mean, if you're truly like super adamant about cleaning that. Then by all means go ahead and get it before you put the new oil in there, but not too much. Keep some of that flavor in there. See our oil heating up over here. And we're going to get it right there to that line there. Then I'm going to show y'all how to return the oil and then clean and assemble, reassemble our drain down there, our catcher, our grease catcher. Some of that we're gonna have to hand wash. Some of it we're gonna have to send. We can send through the industrial dish. If y'all have a dish machine big enough, you'll be able to clean all that stuff out. But unfortunately, I'm gonna have to hand clean some of it. We'll put a new filter paper in there. Slide it back in there. Tighten her up. That's all she wrote, folks. Getting right there to that line. And that's good. This is a good measure. A little tappy tap tap. Alright. Set that back down there and I'm gonna have to mop this floor once I'm done. Alright. So you can remove the power from there. Unfasten it like that. Give her a little drip drip drop. Since that's covering it there, we're gonna go ahead and move this side, which is extremely hot. I'm not gonna be able to do that with one hand. Heck no. So I'm gonna remove that and put the paper back in there. Come back. Got the paper back in here. And you just found a nice safe place to lay it back down there. Be careful because this thing is emitting a lot of heat. So I normally just stick it back on up in there like that. But she ain't bothering nobody. Come around here. Let's see what our numbers are looking like right now. Right as we projected. A little bit under 50, as you can see. All right. Unplug the power. That's always key. Give it a good little lasso. All right, and as you can see, we're back and we have both of our masculine hoses. These hoses, this one right here, opposed to the feminine hose. We got both of those connected, as well as our power source. Nice and firm, secure. That's nice and firm, secure. Now, if 5 minutes distributed 155 pounds of oil, then I think that the 5 minutes will definitely subtract or take away the 100 pounds of wasteful oil that we have here. We don't have to mess with this at all, that nozzle. We don't have to touch that. So let's just crank this. And once again, the W stands for waste. Waste. Crank it up. It's 5 minutes. All right, I'll be back in 5 minutes. And that oil was a lot hotter, so it'll flow through a lot faster than just that nice cool oil from the fresh oil. And if you aren't, or if you're uncertain if everything is distributing properly, you can, like I said, put your hand right here, and you can feel the warmth from the hose. It's not that hot right now, but I can feel a little something. So what I like to do, since you can't really gauge it, especially with a machine like this, depending on your machine, but we don't have an option to where it shows if we got everything basically. And you can't really gauge it off of how warm this is because it's going to be warm since the oil was hot and it needs time to cool off with everything that's inside of it. You can kind of feel how much is flowing opposed to how much it flowed when you first started off, but I like to just go ahead and give it 2 cranks. Like if I go to 5, I might go to 3 and play with maybe 2 things of 5 because with returning it, you can't really overfill if nothing's in there opposed to you just cranking it too much and you can overfill putting stuff inside of it. So I definitely, like I said, would be safer to put 2 cranks of 5 in there, even though it's 100 gallons. I don't know how fast this stuff pulls, how much it pulls out opposed to how much it kicks out. You know what I mean? So once you got all that taken care of, just unhook the power source. Have some oil here. You pull that back. You can tell that I feel like it even had some more in there because there was a lot of oil that came out of that once I took that off. So I put a little thing in there. Keep that from dripping. Got that little wipe down. Over here. So be safe enough. Pull this one out. Just crank it back. Crank it back and pull. It's about how we're doing this in one hand. Yeah, so a little bit of leakage. I bought one. At least you know it was working. So I put a little stopper up in there for that. Got both of these taken care of. Sit them up here like that. It's a time-consuming process, but it's well worth it because you got fresh oil out there. All your dirty oil going in there. Keep Big Bertha or whatever you name yours clean. Whatever you name her clean for him. Another little wipe there. Alright, now back to the kitchen so I can show y'all how to clean the bottom grease catcher tray. And I still have to put the last 50 gallons up in those 2 containers. And really I should add 10 more, but we don't have to be that specific. As long as y'all know how to do it, then that's cool, so. Yeah, one of them's just gonna be a little bit short because I'm gonna definitely use 30 gallons for one, so that's gonna be leaving one short. So for this step here, I want to make sure both vents are closed, drains are closed. Want to make sure you got your towel. I would always put like the old one from over there, or even a piece of cardboard under here, for any oil spillage. And now you gotta disconnect this piece right here. You loosen it up. Pretty simple. Alright, that's back there like that. Since we got this down, I can be a little bit more aggressive, but normally I would put this around there as I'm pulling it apart, but it's pretty, you just disconnect it like that. This piece is more adjustable that's inside of there. So you see you got a little drippage, and you just put this piece around it. You move that over some. You just pull this out. Lift it a little bit. You got this handle right here. We'll back up some. And it has little levers like that. So you have to lift it up over top of that. So be careful when you're pulling it. Make sure it's past both of them. Lift it up a little more. Since it's a training video, I'll let you see how nasty it was. Not too bad, but as you can tell, it definitely needed it. See? She definitely was ready for a change. So I'm gonna grab the cart real quick. While that water's going, show you how to take it apart. Pretty simple. Take that first lever off, sit that there. You got another degree. This is gonna unscrew off lefty. And when you tighten it up, it don't have to be all the way tight, because like I said, you want that piece to align right back up in that middle. But you see all of that? That's your filter right there. We're gonna change that filter, get all this caked up stuff out of there. So, see, I'm gonna use this to scrape all this up and dump it in there. But you know, I mean, you don't really need a tutorial video to show you how to dump stuff in the trash can. So once I get all that scraped in there and taken apart, then I'll show y'all a little bit more. What I do want to show you is I just unscrewed the nozzle from there. So that's one piece that connects to the bottom. So see, you'll take this top piece off right here, line it up over that trash can, you can take that off, and then that's connected to the filter. That goes around the filter. As you can see, the clips on there. So this is the filter and the bracket, that other bracket. That's all stuff, and it's hot too, so y'all be careful, okay? So once you lift this up, ooh, that's hot. Yeah, that's very hot. Turn my water off. So what I'm trying to show you is, let me see, get my spoon. Nip her up. Yeah, please be careful. Y'all can make me clean more than what I want to clean. Let's do it like that. So now you want to pull those clips off. Get as much of this dirt and grease out into the trash can. All of that oil, greases, and fat into the trash can before you send it through any dish or before you hand wash it in a quick apartment sink. Shake all that off. That is extremely hot. We just put fresh hot oil through there. That's fine. So this piece should be folded. Yeah, see? So that's the opening. That's the opening. So once we insert this back into a fresh, brand new filter, we're going to take the opening. It's going to be the side you flip over like that and put the clips on, okay? So pretty simple. So let me clean this stuff off real quick and then we'll go from there. Hands nice and greasy. Can't even press pause. And one thing I did forget to mention, hopefully y'all haven't gotten too far ahead, but use a rubber spatula, excuse me, instead of like the spoon. Cause I meant to do this every time I did it, but I told myself I was gonna do it each time. But see, you don't want those lines in your vat. I mean, in your like grease catcher. It's gonna probably be a little bit more work, but as you can see, it does work. Even with all that stuff in there. Oh, it's kind of hard doing this video without the proper stuff. And then you just slide it on out of there. See how clean I got that? Rubber spatula was smooth at the end. So much buildup. But yeah. So now we're just gonna spray this stuff off, send all of that through through the dish machine, excuse me. And then we're gonna hand wash this over here, roll up them sleeves to take the shirt off. See, I done put my daggone apron on. I said, heck no, I know. All right, once I got it on nice and clean, I'll be back. And just in case you wanted to know, so I got that clean, I have that clean, all of my smaller pieces. About to wash that, but if you want to know how I got all of this stuff in there, you don't need one of those. All you need to do is put this piece, for both of these pieces, on this little lip here, and get her up in there, and she'll be good as washed. Nice and brand new. Yep. All my pieces washed. And I'm gonna go ahead and I like to go ahead and wash all four of my deep fryer baskets. My brand new oil, brand new everything in there, you know. So we're gonna wash those soon, but to be continued. All right, so real quick, we're gonna set it back up. So we have our brand new filter. Oh, let me put a glove on. Just gonna put one on. And see, remember I was telling y'all about that Henny Penny front end oil extender powder? Oh, here we go. This is what ours came in, and that's when you're filtering the oil out. But I'll show y'all because we're gonna need a little bit of this. We're gonna pour it on the actual filter. You know, that's just to help clean it out when it's time to get to brewing. But let's get to it. So we got all our pieces back. We got our 2 clips, nice and clean. A little bit of stuff on it. Handle. Piece right here, piece right here. Earth. Stick this to the side. Give me some Henny Penny. And it tells you right here how much you need for different vats. So it'll let you know your dosage. High 55er. I usually give it just a little bit over. Like I said, so I do 16. I believe it's like 14 though. But get some of that powder. So I just throw a smidge on the bottom. Just a light little touch because we're going to actually use it where it's supposed to be used. Got this piece. Insert it back up in here. All right, there we go. I guess that's me taking my bow early. Just kidding. So make sure it lines up. Make sure the hole is up top, of course. Thank you very much. Slide it up in there almost like a pillow in a pillowcase. Find that hole. Perfect. Should be sticking out like that. Alright. What we're going to do once again, we're going to, now that's inside of there, we just fold the open part back. Slide your clip on one side. Slide your clip on the other side. Place that down there. And sit this over top of the hole. First we're going to put a little powder, a little filtration powder over top. Not inside the hole now, y'all, but just around it lightly. That's all we're going to need of that. Let me give y'all a little gander so if you're a visual learner like me. So, man, it should be something like that, you know. Similar. Alright. Stick this. I'm gonna line this up with the hole. And honestly, let's go ahead and just put a little bit on here too. You see how bad it was. Just a little bit around there. Bam. Put that back in the box. And here's why I say there's the dosage chart. There's the dosage chart. And if we were filtering this, once again, let me go ahead and say it now. If we were filtering this thing, those steps I showed you earlier about how you gotta so you just pour this in. You'll make sure you turn it. As soon as you turn it off, pour her up in there, let her do her thing. It's gonna solve. Then you'll just drain it down there, send it through, let it run. Send it through, let it run a few times. After you pour this in there, open up the vat, make sure you turn her off, run her through or whatnot. Make sure that piece is back like that on filter, under filter, and then you just turn it on. Like I said, let it run through. And then you'll close the vat up once it ran through for about 2 or 3 minutes. Make sure it consumed all of this. And then you just fill it back up. And that's how you filter it. Pretty easy. And that's something you want to do at least. If we're super busy, probably 4 times a week. But you can get away with about 2 or 3 times a week, you know. But it's all up to you and how you run things. Stick this back on there like that. Turn. See, it gets real tight right there. So what I'm gonna do is turn it like that, flip her around, because there's no right or wrong side to put this on there. That's the tight side. Put your top back on there, and please make sure y'all read all these different warning labels and everything. Now we're gonna stick this back down there, tighten her up, and that's a job well done, you know? She's nice and lined up. I normally like to give that a good sweeping and a mopping while I'm down here, while everything's out of there. Once again, both things are closed, of course, because we're using it. Now let's put it back up in there. We want to make sure both pieces are aligned over that hole. Over their holes. When they drop, you get this to align. Pretty evenly. Just gonna do it right here when you connect this. And you send it back that way since we pulled it the last time. So I get that first groove, she in there. Sorry. Nice and tight, but not too tight. Alright. And that's what you call a complete job. Shut both doors, make sure you wipe any grease down if you spilled anything. And that's it. Thank y'all for watching. Please make sure to like, subscribe, comment, repost, and all that good stuff. Look at our clean oil. Job well done. Customers happy, your vet happy, you should be happy. Because you just did a great job. I normally wipe that off when I'm doing my cleaning, so. Alright. Thank y'all again. Stay blessed. Have a good one. Let's get cooking with Chef AJ. But let's get cleaning the kitchen by Chef AJ.